When one is in a bad place in one's head, the modern world offers three main sources of help: psychiatric meditation, CBT, and psychotherapy. Each one of these has its own advantages and drawbacks. Medication can be exemplary in a crisis, at points when the mind is so under siege from fear, anxiety, or despair that thinking things through cannot be an option. Correctly administered, without requiring any conscious cooperation from us, pills play around with our brain chemistry in a way that helps us get through to the next day and the one after. We may get very sleepy, a bit nauseous, or rather foggy in the process, but at least we're still around and functioning more or less. Then there is cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, normally administered by psychologists and psychiatrists in 6 to 10 hour-long sessions, which teach us techniques for arguing rationally with, and with any luck at points controlling, the ghoulish certainties thrown up by our internal persecutors: paranoia, low self-esteem, shame, and panic. Lastly, there is psychotherapy, which from a distance looks like it has only drawbacks. Psychotherapy has a very hard time showing its efficacy in scientific trials, and it has to plead that its results are too singular neatly to fit the models offered by statisticians. Also, it takes up a large amount of time, demanding perhaps 2 sessions a week for a couple of years, and it's therefore by far the most expensive option on the menu. Finally, psychotherapy requires active engagement from its patients and sustained emotional effort. One can't simply allow chemistry to do the work. And yet, psychotherapy is in certain cases a hugely effective choice, which properly alleviates pain, not by magic or chance, but for 3 solidly founded reasons. Firstly, our unconscious feelings become conscious. A founding idea of psychotherapy is that we get mentally unwell, have a breakdown, or develop phobias because we are not sufficiently aware of the difficulties we've been through. Somewhere in the past, we've endured certain situations that were so troubling or sad, they outstripped our rational faculties and had to be pushed out of day-to-day awareness. For example, we can't remember the real dynamics of our relationship with a parent. We can't see what we do every time someone tries to get close to us, nor trace the origins of our self-sabotage or panic around sex. Victims of our unconscious, we cannot grasp what we long for or are terrified by. In such cases, we cannot be healed simply through rational discussion, as proponents of CBT implicitly propose, because we can't fathom what's powering our distress in the first place. Psychotherapy is a tool for correcting our self-ignorance in the most profound ways. It provides us with a space in which we can, in safety, say whatever comes into our heads. The therapist won't be disgusted or surprised or bored. They've seen everything already. In their company, we can feel acceptable and our secrets sympathetically unpacked. As a result, crucial ideas and feelings bubble up from the unconscious and are healed through exposure, interpretation, and contextualization. We cry about incidents we didn't even know before the session started, that we'd been through or felt so strongly about. The ghosts of the past are seen in daylight and are laid to rest. There's a second reason why psychotherapy can work so well: transference. Transference is a technical term that describes the way, once therapy develops, a patient will start to behave towards the therapist in ways that echo aspects of their most important and most traumatic past relationships. A patient with a punitive parent might, for example, develop a strong feeling that the therapist must find them revolting or boring. Or a patient who needed to keep a depressed parent cheerful when they were small might feel compelled to put up a jokey facade whenever dangerously sad topics come into view. We transfer like this outside therapy all the time. But there, what we're doing doesn't get noticed or properly dealt with. However, psychotherapy is a controlled experiment that can teach us to observe what we're up to, understand where our impulses come from, and then adjust our behavior in less unfortunate directions. A therapist might gently ask a patient why they're so convinced they must be disgusting. Or they might lead them to see how their use of jokey sarcasm is covering up underlying sadness and terror. The patient thereby starts to spot the distortions in their expectations set up by their history and develops less self-defeating ways of interacting with people in their lives going forward. Then, the third reason why psychotherapy works. It is the first good relationship. We are, many of us, critically damaged by the legacy of past bad relationships. When we were defenseless and small, we didn't have the luxury of experiencing people who were reliable, who listened to us, who set the right boundaries, and helped us to feel legitimate and worthy. However, when things go well, the therapist is experienced as the first truly supportive and reliable person we've yet encountered. They become the good parent we so needed and maybe never had. In their company, we can regress to stages of development that went wrong and relive them with a better ending. Now we can express need, we can be properly angry and entirely devastated, and they will take it, thereby making good years of pain. One good relationship becomes the model for relationships outside the therapy room. The therapist's moderate, intelligent voice becomes part of our own inner dialogue. We are cured through continuous, repeated exposure to sanity and kindness. Psychotherapy won't work for everyone. One has to be in the right place in one's mind. One has to stumble on a good therapist and be in a position to give the process due time and care. But all that said, with a fair wind, psychotherapy also has the chance to be the best thing we ever get around to doing.
If you're interested in trying psychotherapy, the School of Life offers a service in person in London or by Skype around the world. Click on the link for further details.